Oni, Kappa, Tengu. These are yokai that every Japanese person knows. The Kappa, while sometimes dragging careless people who approach rivers at night into the water and drowning them, also has a charming side, playing sumo with children and interacting playfully with humans. The Tengu, on the other hand, may make those who recklessly enter the mountains disappear or hurl stones from cliffs, yet they are also deeply connected to mountain worship and martial arts traditions, and are said to grant humans superhuman strength and wisdom. Both beings leave room for a certain relationship with human society and serve as cautionary figures, suggesting lessons about rivers and mountains. They are sometimes even regarded as river deities or mountain deities. Oni, however, are fundamentally different. Oni represent absolute evil. They personify disasters beyond human control, irrational violence, sudden outbreaks of plague, inescapable famine, endless warfare, as well as discrimination and social exclusion. There is no room for dialogue or understanding with them. From the perspective of those in power, or the majority, individuals who opposed the imperial court were sometimes depicted as Oni. From ancient through medieval Japan, natural disasters and social unrest could not be explained scientifically. Why was a village burned? Why did disease spread? Why must people starve? Oni emerged as an answer to these questions. They gave form to the unexplainable and made fear visible. That is why Oni are often portrayed as beings that attack without warning or negotiation. Without mercy or reason, they abduct, devour, and destroy. What they embody is the very terror of inescapable catastrophe. Oni are the embodiment of the despair and fear that the Japanese people have faced throughout history, the purest symbol of calamity. Japanese Oni are not merely monsters. They are visual embodiments of calamity, the other world, death, and directional belief. Their appearance is not accidental. It is deeply connected to ancient Chinese yin-yang and five elements philosophy, as well as uniquely Japanese folk beliefs. The most symbolic feature of the Oni is its horns. Horns naturally belong to animals such as oxen and goats. They are not human traits. By giving Oni horns, their non-human nature is emphasized. Horns also suggest aggression and wildness, implying a being that has lost reason and succumbed to violent impulses. Oni are often depicted wearing tiger skin loincloths. This is not a fashion choice. The tiger is regarded in Asia as the king of all beasts. Yet to the Oni, even this king of beasts is nothing more than a piece of skin to be worn. The tiger pelt worn by the Oni symbolically expresses how the Oni has been conceived as a being of extraordinary and overwhelming power. In ancient Japan, the northeast direction was called kimon, the demon gate, believed to be the direction from which misfortune entered. In the zodiac system, the northeast corresponds to Ushitora, ox-tiger. In other words, the Oni's body visually represents the ox-tiger direction. The Oni can be understood as the personification of an abstract directional concept. This belief even influenced the urban design of Heian-kyo, ancient Kyoto, where temples were strategically placed to guard against the demon gate. Oni are typically depicted with red or blue skin. Red Oni, anger, flames, blood, warfare. Blue Oni, illness, death, gloom, fear. These color associations connect to Buddhist views of hell. Oni are often portrayed as wardens or executioners of hell. In illustrated scrolls such as Jigoku Zoshi, Hell Scrolls, red and blue Oni are shown tormenting the damned. The Oni's iconic weapon is the kanabo, a massive iron club. Primitive yet devastatingly powerful, it symbolizes raw, destructive force. Even a medium-sized iron club is nearly impossible for an ordinary human to wield effectively. Thus, Oni are portrayed as enormous muscular beings capable of handling such weapons with ease. From this comes the Japanese proverb, oni ni kanabo, literally an oni with an iron club, meaning someone strong becoming even stronger. Unlike refined weapons such as swords, the iron club represents brute, uncivilized violence in its purest form. Protruding fangs, wild hair standing on end, and glaring, bulging eyes further emphasize rage and madness. In this sense, the oni can be seen as anger itself made visible. In Japan, a widely held view of the afterlife is that those who performed good deeds in life go to heaven, while those who committed evil deeds fall into hell. Judgment is carried out by Enma-ō, who stands as the supreme judge of the other world. Enma-ō examines the deeds committed during a person's lifetime, and those sentenced to hell are subjected to endless torture by the oni, who serve as the wardens and executioners of hell. Enma-ō and the oni are inseparable from the Japanese view of life and death, and even today they remain figures of fear. This concept was transmitted to Japan, systematized by court onmyōdō, yin-yang diviners, and went on to influence the design of the state and even entire cities. In Heian-kyo, a temple located to the northeast of the capital served as a spiritual barrier, sealing the demon gate. Similarly, in later Edo, the Tokugawa shogunate incorporated demon gate ideology into urban planning. A temple built to the northeast of Edo Castle was founded specifically to guard Edo's demon gate and to pray for the peace and stability of the shogunate. This was not mere superstition, but a form of national-scale magico-spiritual defense, seriously undertaken by the ruling authorities of the time. The demon gate was not simply a compass direction. It symbolized the direction from which all misfortunes, disasters, epidemics, rebellions, and natural calamities were believed to enter. As a result, not only were temples and shrines strategically placed, but castles and residences also avoided positioning gates in the northeast, and architectural design sometimes featured deliberately cut or angled corners as protective measures. At the political heart of Japan, the Kyoto Imperial Palace adopted a unique design in which the northeastern corner of its wall was intentionally cut away. This symbolic act represented cutting off the horn, weakening the demon by removing its horn tsuno. In addition, temples located in the demon gate direction often displayed statues of monkeys. The word for monkey, saru, echoes the phrase ma-ga saru, evil departs, making the monkey a symbol of warding off evil. These measures were understood as forming a Not only the northeast, but also the southwest, was regarded as an inauspicious direction. Calling this the rear demon gate, kimon, is a uniquely Japanese development. On the southwest side of the capital, protective shrines were established to guard the royal city, creating a spiritual balance paired with the northeast. The mountain to the northeast and the shrine to the southwest formed a spiritual axis across the capital. Demon gate protection was not limited to the imperial court or major temples. The concept continues to live on in Kyoto townhouses and ordinary homes. Nanten, literally turning difficulties, a wordplay on nan-o tenjiru, to turn misfortune. Bamboo and sasagrass, their continuous joints symbolize unbroken prosperity. This reflects a distinctly Japanese style of protection, blending wordplay with auspicious symbolism. Spaces corresponding to the demon gate direction were sometimes sectioned off and covered with white stones, creating a purified area. White, associated with purity, was believed to repel evil. Large temples placed demon-faced roof tiles, onigawara, on the northeast side of their roofs, using a demon to control demons. Ordinary households substituted smaller tiles or decorative elements for the same purpose. The Demon Gate ideology, which influenced cities, the state, and even personal living spaces, can be seen as a cultural legacy that engraved the idea of the Oni, symbol of calamity, into the very structure of Japanese space itself. The hour of the ox between 1 and 3 a.m. was regarded in onmyō, yin-yang thought, as the time when yin reaches its absolute peak within the day. Silence dominates, human presence fades, and the boundary between life and death, this world and the other world, begins to waver. It is during this hour that the ritual known as Ushi no Koku-mairi is performed. Its origins are said to date back to the Heian period. According to tradition, the practitioner dresses in white garments and nails a straw effigy to a sacred tree within a shrine precinct. Driving 5-inch iron nails into the sacred tree is not merely symbolic prayer. By breaking the barrier that separates this world from the next, intensifying feelings of anger, jealousy, and the pain of betrayal to their extreme, abandoning reason and unleashing the inner demon within. Ushi no Koku-mairi is a curse ritual in which one hammers 5-inch nails into a straw doll representing the hated target in order to bring misfortune upon them. The Japanese conception of Oni differs from a simple image of a devil. Oni are bringers of calamity, yet they are also embodiments of human karma and raw emotion. Ushi no Koku-mairi was considered an extremely dangerous psychological rite, one that intentionally unleashes this inner demon. It was said that if the ritual were witnessed, the curse would rebound upon the practitioner. Therefore, any witness had to be killed. If the rite was not completed for 7 consecutive nights, the practitioner themselves would face ruin. Even if the curse against the intended target were fulfilled, performing the ritual meant that the practitioner had shattered the spiritual boundary by their own will and released their inner Oni. The Oni, now strengthened, would remain with them thereafter, and their life would never again know true happiness. Setsubun is one of the most widely observed annual traditions in Japan. Today it is mainly celebrated on the day before the beginning of spring, around February 3rd. Its origins trace back to the Chinese exorcism ritual called tsuina, a ceremony to drive away evil spirits. The best-known custom of Setsubun is mamamaki, the bean-throwing ceremony. While scattering roasted soybeans, people chant Oni wa soto, fuku wa uchi, demons out, fortune in. Setsubun has remained a national tradition because it is not overly religious, can be easily practiced at home, allows children to participate, and features the easily recognizable symbol of the Oni, demon. Shiko in sumo is the movement in which a wrestler lifts one leg high and forcefully stomps it down. Today, it is performed as part of training and warm-up exercises, but it also retains a ritualistic, Shinto-related aspect. The movement is said to originate from the idea of stamping the ground to drive away evil spirits and purify the space, and is sometimes explained as an act of expelling Oni, demons, believed to dwell beneath the earth. In Japan, what decisively distinguishes sumo from other martial arts and combat sports is the presence of such religious rituals throughout. Sumo itself is even described at times as a ceremony offered to the gods. The most typical examples are Fujin, the wind god, and Raijin, the thunder god. In ancient Japan, firefighting technology was underdeveloped, and most homes were made of wood. Because of this, lightning was a great source of fear for people. A single lightning strike could easily start a fire, sometimes burning entire towns or villages to the ground in an instant. At the same time, thunderclouds also brought life-giving rain that nurtured crops. Lightning was therefore both feared and revered, as it was believed to bring abundant harvests. For this reason, thunder became an object of worship. It was believed that the sound of thunder was caused by Raijin striking the many drums he carried on his back, and that this released stored energy down to the earth as lightning. In old Japan, epidemics were believed to be carried by the wind. Fujin was feared as the embodiment of such disease-bearing winds, yet like Raijin, he was also worshipped. This is because Fujin was thought not only to bring destructive winds, but also to blow away thunderclouds and protect people from lightning. In Japan, there exists a yōkai known as the Oni, a being that symbolizes all forms of calamity, disease, disasters, enemies, and misfortune. Unlike most yōkai, Oni are merciless beings that indiscriminately kill people and cause severe destruction, making them figures of absolute evil. The fact that Fujin and Raijin resemble Oni in appearance can be seen as a reflection of their destructive aspects, causing fires or spreading disease. However, because they also bring great benefits to humanity, they came to be worshipped as gods. Shrines dedicated to Fujin and Raijin can be found throughout Japan. At Sensoji Temple in Asakusa, one of Tokyo's most famous tourist destinations, statues of Fujin and Raijin are enshrined on the left and right sides of the iconic Kaminarimon, Thunder Gate. The capital was gripped by fear. On Mount-ō in Tanba province, there was said to be a king of Oni who abducted noble maidens from the capital, surrounded himself with them, and indulged in drunken debauchery night after night. His name was Shutendoji. Though he appeared in human form, he bore horns and possessed tremendous strength, and was feared as the strongest Oni. This tale is described in detail in the Muromachi period picture scroll, Wayama Ekotoba. At last, the emperor made his decision. The imperial command to subdue the demon was given to the renowned warrior Minamoto no Yorimitsu. Yorimitsu, accompanied by his 4 heavenly kings, disguised himself as a mountain ascetic and set out for Mount-ō. When they encountered Shutendoji in his mountain palace, he was not only a terrifying monster, but also a figure possessing a certain kingly dignity. Yorimitsu and his men offered him sacred sake granted by the gods and Buddhas. It was a holy wine said to intoxicate the Oni and render him powerless. Deeply drunk, Shutendoji fell into a heavy sleep. Even as his consciousness began to fade, Shutendoji launched a counterattack. Yorimitsu seized the moment and cut off his head. Yet even after being decapitated, the Oni's head is said to have tried to bite Yorimitsu. This, it was said, was why he was feared as the strongest. And yet, when one looks closely at this story, another image begins to emerge. Shutendoji was not merely a monster. He is portrayed as a figure who established a base in the mountains, commanded followers, and threatened the capital. The expedition against him was an official military action carried out under imperial command. The structure is clear. Since ancient times, groups that refused to submit to the imperial court were often depicted as monstrous beings. Just as the Tsuchigumo were transformed into yōkai in legend, the word Oni also served as a symbolic label for those who lived beyond the capital's control. The Mount-ō region had long been an area associated with iron resources and mountain-based religious traditions. It would not be surprising if there had once been forces there that resisted central authority. If Shutendoji had in fact been the leader of a real mountain-based power, then his subjugation may have been a story of suppressing rebels clothed in the guise of a demon-slaying myth. Was the Oni truly a monstrous being? Or was it the image of an enemy, as seen from the center of power? The dramatic tale of the severed head depicted in Oyama Ekotoba may be not only the legend of the strongest Oni, but also a record of the moment when authority as the victor shaped the narrative of history. An Oni represents natural disasters, foreign enemies, rebels, outsiders, vengeful spirits, human passions, and the fear of social disorder. At once, a being to be expelled, the Oni is also a central symbol that has helped shape the very core of Japanese culture itself.
Japan B is a channel that randomly shares information about lesser-known aspects of Japanese culture, spanning across various genres.
In Japan, at a time when science was still undeveloped, unexplained phenomena were often believed to be the work of beings from an invisible world. A yōkai is believed to be the spirit of a person who died while harboring intense resentment, hatred, or unfulfilled regret. Unable to attain peace or pass on to the afterlife, such a spirit remains in this world, cursing the living, bringing misfortune, and at times even causing death, forever waiting for an opportunity to take revenge. Such a soul would linger in the human world as a yōkai, endlessly wandering the living realm. Those who committed brutal murders were sometimes said to later lose their sanity. Today, this might be explained as PTSD, but in the past, such madness was believed to be caused by a vengeful yōkai possessing the perpetrator.